Okay, so I think it should be recording. So then I guess that I hope everyone can hear me. I see that I'm happy to see so many of you today. I'm happy to see Robert actually see, but I'm happy that the rest of you have joined as well. So hello and welcome to CENOS release webinar for the version 3.0. First of all, I want to thank you for finding the time today to join our short presentation about the news and updates of CENOS Induction Heating app. Today, we will actually start not with the presentation, but a warm welcome from our CEO, Michals, who is here with us today. And after that, the webinar then, we will continue in the usual manner. We are going to take a look at the technical improvements of the software, and after that, we are going to have a Q&A session for questions about this release or CENOS in general. So overall, about everything that you would like to talk or comment about. And as always, if you think of some questions already while we are doing the presentation, just write them in the chat, and we are going to we'll go over them after the meeting, after the presentation during the Q&A part. So I guess, Michals, I will give the word to you, and let's start.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you always for inviting me to this meeting. I'm on vacation myself, but I'm very happy to join the meeting and just to say a few words upfront to the presentation. My name is Michał Szczepanskis. I'm CEO and founder of CENOS. Actually, I remember like 3 years ago when we released the first beta version of induction heating software. We set pretty ambitious goal. So we decided to make so simple to use software and affordable software that literally every induction heating engineer can use simulation and replace physical testing and prototyping with a computer simulation. So that was our goal. Of course, it's ambitious, and we still have a lot of things to do. And I really appreciate all feedback that users and customers gave us so far. That is super important. But I'm really super happy to see that we have more than 50 customers now around the world. Actually, we have customers in Europe, North and South America, in Asia as well, and the same number of academic users as well. With this number, I would say that we became kind of the market leader for induction heating software. And I'm very happy because of that, because we are the first focused on induction heating simulation software, and this is our commitment. So we would like to make software even better, even more focused on induction heating to serve you guys. And actually, I was even more happy than a few months ago, I think it was on May, our product team decided to actually announce the new version of software 3.0, and it was designed to be a revolution. So that this 3.0 has an ambitious goal to put significant step forward, like huge simplicity in the software. So I'm very happy with that about this. Unfortunately, this version 3.0 took quite a lot of time to release. So we announced that on May, and we are able to release it only now. But overall, I'm very happy how it looked like, and I hope that you, ladies and gentlemen, will enjoy it as well. So again, I personally believe this is revolution. And I hope you will enjoy it, and I hope you will benefit from using the software. But last thing I want to say that this is not everything we can do. I mean, I want to ensure that our commitment is to develop more. So we will do that. Yeah, I think everybody is curious. I'm curious myself to see the software and what's new as well. So without any further ado, always please go ahead with your presentation. And of course, if any question, don't hesitate to write in chat, and always will be happy to answer after the presentation, or you can ask with your voice after that. Thank you for joining. Always, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mikhail. So I am currently sharing my screen. Could someone acknowledge that you see the screen that I'm sharing? Yes. All right. Thumbs up. Then we can proceed. All right. So CENOS version 3.0. Version 3.0 is a relatively large update, which includes in itself a lot of new and improved features. So let's take a look. First thing that you will notice with version 3.0 is that CENOS Induction Heating is actually changing its color from blue to orange. This is done to clearly differentiate induction heating from our other app, Antenna Design, that we recently released, and from any potential future releases, future apps that we will have. I personally like the way the new CENOS looks like, and I hope that you do too. One of the biggest updates included in CENOS version 3.0 is multi-thread calculation. A lot of you have been asking for this for a long time, and I am happy to announce that we have finally implemented it. Now, with this update, you can use your CPU to its full extent, set the number of cores you want to utilize, and decrease the calculation time of your cases significantly, which makes CENOS even more efficient in troubleshooting and also testing your induction heating designs. We take our user-related problems very seriously, and we want to help you resolve them and use CENOS smoothly and completely. With the new version, we have implemented a built-in chat, which takes the communication with our support engineers to another level. Reach out to our support engineers directly from CENOS interface, and we will help you resolve your problems instantly. Now, gentlemen, reworked motion. This is honestly the part of the new release I am honestly most excited about personally. A lot of you have probably had some problems with motion definition because of Salome, our geometry preprocessor. We acknowledged this problematic part a long time ago now, which is why the motion is being completely reworked right now. Movement calculation will no longer be done via our preprocessor, which will solve all existing problems with scanning and rotation cases that we had up until this release. This means that parameterization in Salome for movement is also not needed anymore. You can simply create a static geometry and a mesh, and CENOS will do the rest. Also, because of the rework, complex motion is now available in FromCAD approach as well. As you remember, CENOS supports two motion types, simple and complex, where in the simple motion, geometry is not moving, but in the complex motion, you can visually see how your inductor, for example, is moving and scanning your part. To use the new movement, you simply find the motion definition in the new separate motion tab, select motion type, direction, and velocity, and you're good to go. Note that with this release, complex rotation is not supported as a type of movement yet. So for complex rotation cases, the old workflow is still possible to use. But don't worry though, the complex rotation is also coming shortly. Another large improvement is the new geometry roles. For simulation to be accurate, you need to correctly define your system. Which of all of the volumes you have is the workpiece, which is the inductor, where exactly are the inductor terminals, and so on and so on and so on. Previously, this was done differently depending on the simulation approach you used, and not always it was straightforward because you needed to think for yourself which surfaces and volumes to select, why, and how to name them. Now we have implemented one universal way for domain and boundary selection for both FromCAD and the advanced geometry editor approaches, which I personally feel is a lot better than we have previously. This means that if you choose to use Advanced Geometry Editor, you don't need to define all geometry groups there, as it can be done easier in CENOS now. With the new improvements made in movement and geometry roles, the overall workflow for simulation setup changes as well. Honestly, it becomes easier. Let's take a look at the new workflows in CENOS for FromCAD and the Advanced Geometry Editor approaches. FromCAD. Because of the numerous improvements in the automatic meshing, CAD processing, movement, and geometry roles, the FromCAD approach now becomes a very viable choice for 3D simulation creation. Simply import your CAD files, define roles, define movement if you have that, and you're good to go. Because of the improved automatic meshing, FromCAD provides a quick and mainly automated setup for most of your cases. Even if your geometry is more complex and the automatic meshing for some reason cannot handle it, don't worry. You will be able to open our preprocessor with an already created mesh, which you only need to slightly adjust to make the simulation running. The new update affects the Advanced Geometry Editor workflow as well. And even though most 3D cases can now be created easier by using FromCAD approach, there will still be some cases where the Advanced Geometry Editor is necessary. Up until now, with this workflow, you had to define quite a lot in Salome. So parameters for movement, partition, and groups for domains and boundary conditions. Now, instead, you can use Salome only for the mesh creation. So the movement, parameter, or extensive group definitions are no longer necessary, as you can define all of that in CENOS interface. Along with a lot of new stuff, we have improved and also fixed a ton of the old stuff that we had as well. From now on, you can use space in your simulation name, as it was not supported earlier and you needed to use underlines or other dividers. In CENOS simulation folder, you can now find a debug subfolder, which can help to identify and fix the problematic parts of your geometry if the automatic meshing, for example, fails in the FromCAD approach. You can now pin down your favorite or most used materials and use FromCAD automatic meshing a lot easier. We have also improved collision detection in movement cases, made it easier to change roles for domains, and included a dynamic preview change for your geometry parameters. And not to mention, on top of that, we have also fixed more than 100 bugs, making the software more stable and more reliable as before. These were the news and updates of CENOS version 3.0. We are really glad to release such a big update, and I personally feel like this is, as Michal said, a game changer. We really appreciate your feedback, so if there is anything you would like to comment about the new release, or is there anything that you would want to talk us about after trying the new release, please reach us out, and we will be happy to have a chat with you. So from our side, that was the presentation of the new CENOS version 3.0 release. And now, as promised, we can switch to the second part of today's webinar, which is the Q&A part. Now, I see that no one has written anything in the chat discussion in the chat interface. So I would like to ask anyone who has any comments or questions about this release or about CENOS in general. Please unmute yourselves and ask or comment anything that you would like to have. Okay, we have a question from Vlad. There are different ways to measure the layer depth for the induction hardening. How can you simulate different ways? What exactly do you mean with different simulation ways for induction hardening? There are multiple approaches for induction hardening. There is static hardening, there is scanning hardening, there is rotation hardening, but the hardening process itself in all of these cases is basically the same. You heat the material up until one specific temperature, then you cool it down rapidly, and then you get the final hardened profile. So to answer your question, I would say that we can simulate different approaches. Okay, for example, our company do induction hardening for the tow hooks of the car. All right, the drawing requires. All right. Yes, I got it. So the question is, can we measure can we see the hardness of the hardening profile? Currently, CENOS only estimates the hardening profile, calculates the hardening profile from the temperature that you get. Right now, we don't have the hardness calculations implemented yet, but this is actually coming. Some time ago, if you remember, we added phase calculations to our software. So now you can actually see and calculate how the steel phases change as the material is being heated up and cooled down afterwards. And on top of this, we are going to build a lot more. And the hardness calculation is one of those. So we don't have it yet, but we have it coming. Well, I hope that I managed to answer your question. So we have a new question from Ali. Do you have any new features for induction cooker coil design? I would like to ask to be a little bit more specific. I know that for induction cooker, a stranded or a lit wire is usually very interesting to simulate. And for that, we have full possibilities in both 2D and 3D approaches to simulate not only the behavior, but also the heating of the stranded coil. So if the question is about that, then we already have, from our side, a lot of features available. But Ali, maybe you can explain a little bit more in depth about what you mean. Gentlemen, by the way, it is also completely okay for you to unmute and just ask right away. It will definitely be easier to discuss the urgent questions.
Hello, I want to add something that I think it seems pretty good, the new version and new color. I liked it. And I know the CENOS has capabilities for the induction cooker coil design, but I just wonder about do you have any new features to make it better or additional features?
First of all, I'm glad that you like the new color, because I think I was one of our team that voted for this, actually. But regarding the improvements about that, then I would like to ask if you have anything specific in mind. Maybe you can reach out to me after the webinar, because induction cookers are just one of the many applications for induction heating. So in general, we support that, but if you have some kind of an idea for an improvement for this specific application, then we will be more than glad to hear out your ideas.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Ali. Does anyone else have some questions or comments or anything you would like to know in addition to what we discussed so far? All right, then I think if no one else has any other questions or comments, then I guess we can stop and finalize today's webinar. So guys, anyone who joined, thank you for your time. And I do hope that the presentation was interesting to you. And even after the presentation, if you think of some kind of a question, please reach out to us, and we can have a little chat via email or even do a video call. Really, it's completely up to you. So again, any feedback is welcome. As we talked with Ali, again, if you have any ideas of improvements or presentations or something like that, improvements or features, then reach out to us. All right, so then the last question from Roberts is very good presentation. Thank you. Will you make the slides available? Not the slides themselves, but this webinar recording will be published in our CENOS CENOS YouTube channel. If you need the slides specifically, we can probably arrange that afterwards, but overall, yeah, the video will be available. Thank you, Vlad. Yes, we are trying to improve as much as possible, and with this update, I really feel that we have taken a large step forwards into simplification of the workflow, so I really hope that you will see that too. All right, then I would like to say again, thanks to anyone who joined, and then see you in the next webinar about the next release, hopefully soon. All right, have a nice day, gentlemen, and then take care.